Welcome to Sew Very Easy. My name is Laura, and today I would like to share with you one of my favorite patterns to make a pair of pants. Now, what I really like about this is, well, it is fast to make. I can get a pair of pants done in less time than it will take me to shop for a pair of pants. What's great about it is there's no closures, there's no zippers. We just have a little piece of elastic and it's stretch knit fabric. And it does have a fitted look. We can have a nice big bottom on our pants or a straight leg. The pattern that I'm using today is B6966 from Butterick. So we have a t-shirt and the two pairs of pants. You can see where this is a little bit more of a straight leg, and this has a larger bottom. So when we look at the pattern, we're going to see the pants. And the pants only have one piece per pattern. So this is the straight leg version, and this is the larger piece. And that one pattern piece is all we're going to need to make the pants. Now this pattern does have a tissue fitting method. And this is one thing that I do recommend. It is a good opportunity to make this pattern fit you perfectly. And that way you can use it over and over again. So you tape the seams where you're going to try that on. And that just stabilizes that tissue. And then you try it on. You make your adjustments. You can make it wider. You can adjust the seams wherever you need them to be adjusted. Once this is adjusted and fits you, you will be able to use this pattern over and over again. And if you do like this method of having a pair of pants with only one piece, which means there's no side seam, you can get another pattern, and it is by McCall's. And I've had this one for a long time, so they have changed the number to B6851. The difference with this is there is a zipper. So this is for a woven fabric, and this is for a stretch knit. So today I'm going to make this wide leg pair of pants, and I'm also going to do it in a black. It'll be a very elegant pair of pants. So this is the top of the pattern. We have the front, we have the back, and right in the center we have that one big dart. Now that dart is what gives this a little bit of a form. So it fits our curve instead of hanging flat. This is a cutout area, but I do not cut it out until after I am done. There are many ways of marking that dart, but this is a really fun and simple way that you can keep with your pattern. I photocopied that top area and I cut out the dart. After I am done cutting out my pattern, I can lay this on top and trace around, or place this on top and trace around. So this one piece is all we're going to need, and we need to cut it out twice, one for each leg. So let me get this cut out, and then I'll show you how we're going to do that dart and finish off that edge. So I have the pants cut out. Now I need to transfer this dart. I keep the top of the pants pinned together. I just need to make sure I have enough room to put in my paper. Now I do have the wrong sides facing out, so the good side is inside. I can line that up. Then I temporarily take out those pins, peel that back, and mark. I also mark a line between the dot and the dot. I am going to use those lines after. I'm going to put that fabric back down because I do need to mark the other side. So I just pin these layers together. And the last one, I'm just going to put a pin right through straight into that mark. Now I'm going to be able to flip this over where that pin is coming out. So I know that pattern is going to go right in here just by looking underneath and line that up. Just put that pin out of your way and mark. I'm putting the lines, or at least marking where those dots are. So my dart is now marked, and I could take out the pins. Now I am going to sew these pants together in a different order than the directions have us do. So the directions have us sew those darts first, and then sew those long side seams, and then that crotch line. But I already have my fabric so that the right sides are touching. My front piece and my back piece are already lined up. So I can move that fabric out of the way so that that tissue is out of the way. I have the front and the back are already matched up. So in my opinion, why do I want to match if I already have it matched? Now I can go and sew these seams first. Now that those two seams are done, if you've made this pattern before, go ahead and do that dart. But if you have never done this pattern before, let's do the sides first. If we need to, we can always adjust that dart to fit us after. So I'm going to match that center and pin the side of my legs together. I do like to pin a little bit different if I'm taking this right to the serger. Instead of my pins coming out, I pin the layers together so that the pins are about an inch away from this seam. But what it's doing is it's making it easier for me to go to the serger and serge this. I don't have to remove the pins. So I have the machine, it's set up to do that 3-thread overlock with the chain stitch. So you can see this is the overlock and this is the chain stitch. So now I'm going to be able to sew, and you can see where that pin is not going to be in the way. So I can just sew. That's the center. And I can just finish the whole seam and take those pins out after. That definitely makes quick work of the sewing. So we now have those two darts that we need to take care of, and those will create the side seam. So this is what it's going to look like. So it's giving us this curve. Now before you do the dart, I would recommend trying the pants on. Now to match up those seams, I do have that one dot in the bottom, and I'm going to take just a little piece on the bottom mark. I drew that line, so I'm going to put the pin in the one side and come up right on the other. Same with all of them. And as I squeeze this together, I can make sure that those line up, and I'm going to make sure that that top lines up. I can pick this up, so I'm going to line up that marking on both sides so that pin is on the marking lines on both sides. Now I'm not going to be able to sew with the pins in this direction, so I'm just going to transfer some new pins now that that's all held together. Now that's going to be easier for me to stitch. Now that that dart is done, if we remember, the pattern did have an area that we could cut out. So depending on the pants and what you have decided on doing, this is the time I like to do it. So I'm just going to equal out that seam allowance from where my seam is. Once again, these do not have any fraying, so I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to be able to press this open, and this little end, which of course I cannot press open, I'm going to have that go towards the back seam. Now we need to do that waistband, and there's lots of ways we can do that waistband. I'll give you two examples, and I'm going to use this white fabric just so that you can see the contrast. We need to get an elastic that we need the size of our waist. And of course, join those edges. But one way is to take the edge of the elastic and line it up with the edge of the pants. Stretch and do a big basting stitch all the way along the top and stretch as you sew. Once that's done, you're going to be able to turn it over and re-stitch. And then if you'd like, you can do a row of stitching along the top. So from the right side, you're going to have 2 rows of stitching. Another way is to take that, join the elastic up so that it fits your waist, and then I would pin this into a waistband and roll it over. I'm going to leave just a little bit of a seam allowance on the other side of that elastic. So you can see that elastic inside and it's pinned. Then do a row of stitching right along that elastic. Not that you're hitting the elastic, you're just going on the other side. And a foot that has that little bar will make it easy. So the bar on that foot keeps it so that we're not stitching on the elastic, we're just stitching on the other side. So we're going to go right along that edge as we are stitching. And when we do it that way, this is what we're looking at from the inside. So it's nice and smooth. We did not catch the elastic and the seam's not raveling, so I do not need to do a finishing. And on the front, it's just 1 row of stitching. So a lot we'll have to do on how much fabric you are going to have on the top. In my case, I want as little stitching showing as possible, so I'm going to do this method. And there's that front seam with just 1 little row of stitching along the waistband. The last thing we need to do is put up a hem. Now I have chosen a 2-inch hem. That gives the pants a little bit of weight so it drapes nicely. And my machine is a combination machine. I have a Bernina L890, so I'm able to do a cover stitch. What the cover stitch looks like is 2 rows of stitching, and that would be on the top. But when you turn it over, you sort of have that zigzag look, which gives it a very nice finish. But of course, you can put up this hem any way you would like, and once it's done, our pants are done. So I have that side seam, a waist, and it's a nice big wide pant. And they did turn out to be a very elegant pair of pants. And no one knows it's an elastic waist, except you and I. So yes, this is one of my favorite all-time patterns. Simple pair of pants. You can do them in many different ways, and they can always have a little bit of a different look depending on what you're doing. Long shorts, double waistband, decorative waistband, turned over waistband, and a very clean finished waistband. Change the legs, change the waistbands, change the fabric, and they're going to look different every single time. Thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I do have a newsletter. It's all free under Sew Very Easy. And be sure to make every day a Sewtacular day. Bye for now.